All right, gentlemen, take your seats. Let's get this over before lunch. Floyd Rose of the Homicide Squad has decided to take early retirement. We will all miss Floyd and the steely edge he brought to his police work. The department has arranged a wee drink at the Galway Arms to quench the mighty thirst a man gets from 25 years of police work. Floyd's departure leaves a place at the top table, and the chief has seen fit to promote Cole Phelps from burglary to the homicide desk. Stand up, Phelps. Take a chair. You're in the major leagues now, Sonny. Rusty Galloway, a fine lawman of the old school, will be taking you under his wing. Your first case is the murder of a woman, found last night and bearing all the signs of the werewolf. Get out to the scene, lads.
Come on, Phelps, let's get moving.
Do you have the address?
It's been all over KGPL. It's off Temple Street, between Belmont and Glendale.
What happened to Rose?
Parker wants the chief's job. Word is it's either going to be him or Thad Green. So they're both clearing the decks.
So where does that leave you, Galloway?
It leaves me saddled with a chump like you, Phelps. I didn't ask for you and I don't want you, so keep it to yourself. See if you can learn something about seeing how a real cop operates.
What did he mean by the werewolf?
The Dahlia. The Daily News came out calling him the werewolf killer. The Examiner came up with the Black Dahlia.
We any closer to catching him?
Not a chance. 6 months and hundreds of guys running down leads and we got nothing.
You don't think this has anything to do with it?
No, I don't. 90% of murders are domestic, Phelps. Some guy gets into a beef with his wife, he takes it too far. This will be the same. But cutting someone in half and leaving them off the sidewalk, that's a one-off.
Why so many women this year?
Because of the war. You should know that. Guy gets to kill people every day in combat. Comes home, he's expected to take lip from his wife. What do you think's going to happen?
It's that simple.
Like I said, most of the time it is.
How about a scoop for the Examiner, Galloway? You could use some good press.
Another tramp, another message. Is the werewolf back in business, boys?
Do you have a mother, asshole? A sister? How about showing some respect for this poor woman? Let us do our job, and Detective Galloway will give you a statement later.
He's good, Rusty. He even sounds genuine.
The werewolf?
That's Phelps, guys. The war hero. Defending the honor of murdered humps.
For my money, a copycat. You're used to it, Phelps. Move it along, guys. You got your pictures, you got your headlines. Now scram!
We can't rule it out. We need to work the evidence.
You'd love that, wouldn't you? A big head to hang on your wall. The caller of the decade. We've been working evidence on BD case for 6 months and got nix.
There's a difference, Rusty.
Oh, yeah?
I just started working it today.
Okay, Hotshot. What's more likely? The werewolf comes back around, leaving us unknown in a corpse?
He clearly has a thing for power. Power over women. Why not power over the police department as well?
Patrolman, this your beat?
Yes, sir. Well, part of it. Kids park here, they use it like a lover's lane. It's a working neighborhood. Some trouble, but nothing like this. It's known locally as the Moors.
You were first on the scene?
Yes, Detective.
No one's disturbed the body?
No, sir. We cleared out them vulture reporters so Pinker and the coroner could work. They're waiting to talk to you.
Let me finish, Phelps. A guy opens his mouth again after 6 months of stum. Or some opportunist who's been reading about the BD figures, he'll rip off the MO and get himself a freebie.
That's not totally fantastical.
You know, the Examiner and the Daily News might be good at coming up with monikers, but they're terrible for police work. If there's a reason we didn't get the son of a bitch after the short murder, it was them, locusts.
Where do you think the werewolf killer is now?
Dead by his own hand, stationed somewhere else with the armed forces. San Quentin, another town, another country, who knows? So, Phelps, I understand you want to turn this into a big case, but it doesn't work like that, all right? A case will come and find you. Can't make it something it ain't, understand?
So you don't think the werewolf has continued to operate in the Los Angeles area?
No chance. We would have found him.
What can you tell me about the shoe prints?
Men's size 8s. Pinker lifted impressions for me to compare back at the lab.
What caused the blunt force injury to the face?
Could be anything from a baseball bat to a lug wrench. I'll have more details after the autopsy.
Cause of death?
It could be the head injuries. She has been badly stomped. The cuts look superficial. I'll know for sure in an hour.
What about this wound on the finger?
Something removed, a ring most likely. I assume it was taken post-mortem. I need to get back to it, Phelps. Can we discuss this later?
What does the writing on the victim mean?
BD, like Dahlia? Tex? Your guess is as good as mine. Could be something to it, or it could be the killer's trying to throw you off the scent. Either way, I'll run tests on the lipstick.
Any idea of the time of death?
From the temperature, I'd say after midnight. I'll confirm with you later. You need to look the body over, Phelps, then I'll talk you through it. I'll leave the theorizing until after you've examined her for yourself.
I should get back to my beat, Detective. You, think it's a werewolf done this?
This equipment is valuable and so is my time. Leave me alone. Out of the way. This report doesn't need a dozen pictures of your pinstriped ass.
Go house to house and see what you come up with. Carruthers.
Phelps, you make homicide?
Looks like it. Galloway has been making me feel welcome.
I bet he has.
Has the scene been secured?
Patrolman Houlihan saw to it. The victim's personal effects are still where they fell.
The victim's bag? Looks brand new. Can't be the one used on the body. Looks like some kind of puzzle or parlor game. The Bomba Club. Why steal a table lighter?
9 times out of 10 in a domestic, it's the husband. The husband, however, would have beat her brains out in the comfort of the family home. I think the display angle will rule him out.
We need to question him regardless.
Agreed. I'm just telling you how it will play.
Crime scene is just up the dirt road, Detective. Don't sweat it. I'm keeping the riffraff out.
Top of the hill is where they need you, Detective.
Jesus, watch your shots, Cole. You hit that Bowser, we all go boom. I got an idea. Get him next to my window, Cole. Keep me alongside his vehicle, and I'll stop the son of a bitch. We gonna get to the crime scene or what? I know this is your first taste at homicide, but we gotta get back to that scene. First things first. Better speak to the reporting patrolman and Mal Carruthers. It's a crime scene, isn't it? Don't just stand there, take a look around.
Jacob Henry had a violent argument with his wife last night. He's looking more and more likely.
For my money, if the broad keeps the house looking like that, she's probably deserved it. The skipper says bring him in. He'll keep the hacks off our backs for a while.
Fine by me.
So it ain't the werewolf killer after all. Good to see you've come to your senses, Cole.
I always said work the evidence. I only stipulated a connection to the BD killer as an avenue of investigation we should leave open. And as far as I'm concerned, it still is. The oldest problem there is. What to do about the old lady.
I'll try the back door. Wait here a second. Side window's been jimmied. Looks like somebody's creeped the joint.
Tiffany? The rest of the stuff is junk. Might explain the missing ring. A regular Amelia Earhart in her day. The ring looks distinctive. Burglar used a pry bar. Why did you kick the door in?
You think I'm going to climb through a broken window in a $30 suit? You got another thing coming, Buster.
Celine and Jacob are obviously having problems. It speaks to motive.
Crime scene evidence still weighs against it being the husband, but Jacob could give us something to go on. One of my exes drank like this, you'd be feeling the back of my hand.
Let's see what Jacob has to say for himself. Call in burglary and get technical services out here. I'll talk to the neighbors.
Don't take all day about it, Phelps. I'll get nasty when I'm thirsty. Galloway, homicide, badge number 564. Requesting technical services for a suspected 459 at 142 North Union.
LAPD. Are you acquainted with Celine Henry, Miss?
Horgan. Jennifer Horgan. I've known Celine for more than 10 years. Our children grew up together. What's going on, officer?
Did you see Mrs. Henry go out last night?
Well, I'm no busybody, you understand, but Celine had been drinking, and she and poor, long-suffering Jacob had a terrible row. I think Jacob may have given her a black eye. He stormed out and she went back inside.
Did he come back?
No. Celine was listening to music and shouting until she left around 10 p.m. She was very drunk to have been driving, but she is not the sort of person you can stop from doing something when her dander is up. What is this about, officer? Is Celine all right?
I'm afraid Mrs. Henry has been murdered, ma'am.
Murdered? Oh, my God. I'm afraid I need to go and sit down. Just give me some time to myself, please. Please. I'm too upset.
You got her address? We got to try to find next of kin somewhere. Let's go. We need to work the home address again. Only way to do this. Go knock. Nobody home. Don't be shy, Phelps. If we want something on this broad, we're going to have to search the place. Canvassing the neighbors. It's not a bad idea. See what you can turn up. Okay, Phelps, we go in hard. You follow my lead. You Jacob Henry?
Yeah. Who's asking?
LAPD. You're under arrest for the murder of your wife, Celine Henry.
Murder? Celine? Oh my God.
Save the dramatics for RKO, pal. You got bigger problems.
What the hell are you talking about? You come in here, you tell me that Celine is... that she's... Jesus, I'm sorry.
Take a seat, Mr. Henry. We're going to have a look around. Then we'll talk.
You think the atmosphere's thick in here? Wait till you try the gas chamber. I get even the slightest hint that you're a flight risk, pal.
Kill my own wife?
She was a lush and a tramp, and you just couldn't stand it anymore.
Shut your goddamn mouth.
So now you're going to tell me you loved her? The DA goes all gooey over remorse, Jacob.
You're awful hot under the collar for an innocent man, Mr. Henry. You're not being rational. This doesn't look good for you, Jacob.
Get that sucker-punching son of a bitch.
The DA's going to love this, Henry.
I've got nothing to say to you bastards. Go to hell. That's all? If you got more in that goddamn book, spit it out. You're just going to go on talking this same ridiculous story, aren't you? You know what? You go to hell.
Call it in and get a squad car dispatched. And check for messages. I'll keep old Slugger here company.
Carruthers said she took a real pounding.
Maybe if he had been a little firmer in the beginning, he wouldn't be in this situation now.
I imagine that Neanderthal routine is a big hit with the ladies, Galloway.
Women love me, Phelps. I have no complexity. They know exactly what they're going to get.
I need a patrol unit to transport a suspect back to Central.
Certainly, Detective.
Any messages for me?
You have a message from the coroner. Do you wish to be put through?
Yes, ma'am.
Carruthers,
It's Phelps.
I've completed the autopsy. Several wounds to the head from a blunt metal instrument. Closest match would be a socket wrench handle.
So the cause of death was the blunt...
No, the blows to the head surprisingly were not fatal. Death was from hemorrhage and shock from the fractured ribs and multiple injuries caused by the stomping.
Anything else?
He's some kind of sex fiend. The tissues of the anus were bruised about 1/8 of an inch, but no trace of semen in the anus, vagina, or stomach.
Thanks, Doc. Any other messages?
One, Detective. From Captain Donnelly. He wants any and all suspects returned to Central. Interviews to be set up immediately.
Got it. We're coming in.
Looks like someone else kicked Celine to death. Size 11s.
Why did you kill her, Jacob? Things will go better if you come clean about it.
That's a lousy thing to say. I never gave up on my wife.
You were separated from your wife. You argued.
She wanted things I couldn't provide. Fact is, she was disappointed with life.
You went to her house, you fought, you beat her, she left, and then you followed her.
I left first. She tried to batter me with a frying pan. I had to slap her down.
Understandable.
I don't believe you, Jacob. I think you didn't have the guts to do it yourself, so you had someone else do it.
You want to back that up with something, Big Mouth? Huh? I've had just about enough of you.
The note by the phone suggests you meant her harm.
You want the truth? Truth is, I was sick to death of her. I was trying to have her committed.
Can we get to the Bomba? A man could die of thirst in a case like this.
Let's follow Jacob back to the station.
Something about getting jumped makes me all itchy to lock him up.
When did you last see your wife, Mr. Henry?
Last night. I went to see her. We talked. Things got a little out of hand. I left.
You don't remember what time you last saw your wife alive?
Look, I'm sorry. I left. Maybe 9 p.m. Might have been a little later, but right around 9.
And how are we meant to believe that, Jacob? It isn't looking good for you.
That nosy bitch from next door, Jenny Horgan. She'll tell you I left. And what time.
That's a lie, and you know it. You tailed her, watched her come out of a bar, and then beat her to death. Admit it, Henry.
Why would I do that, Detective? My wife was a drunk. It was a sickness with her. Doesn't mean I didn't love her. Would you stop loving your wife if she was unwell?
No, I wouldn't. So who could have killed Celine? Where did she go last night, Jacob?
A bar, I suppose. Look, I don't know.
We know that she drinks, Jacob. Drunks have regular haunts, places they feel relaxed.
Celine did most of her drinking at home. She didn't have many friends left. Not many alcoholics do. Not real friends, anyway.
We get the impression that Celine liked to live the glamorous life. How did she end up with a hump like you, Jacob?
Celine was one of the first woman pilots. She hung out with movie stars and royalty. But when she came back here broke and struggling, she married a mechanic, put a roof over her head, food on the table. Not glamorous, but the best I could do. I'm not ashamed about that.
You know where she went, Jacob. You're lying. Why would I help you if you keep lying to me?
Look, I'm telling you, I don't know.
We know she went to the Bomba Club.
The bartender there, he calls me if things are getting out of hand, and I go and I bring her home. He called me last night. I said no. Phone rang a couple more times after that. I ignored it. I'm going to have to live with that. Are you finished? I'd like some time to grieve for my wife.
So you can prove that you came back here after you left your wife's place?
I came back here. I was here all night. Start work at 6:30. I'm not the going out type.
Did a neighbor see you? Did you talk to anyone? You need an alibi, Jacob.
I don't have one. I was here. I listened to Amos and Andy on the radio, and then I went to bed.
So you were here, tucked up in bed, while someone was out there beating your wife's brains out. That's all you've got?
Talk to the bartender at the Bomba Club. He'll tell you he called here last night, and I answered the phone.
You called the bar to give yourself an alibi. Then you went after her, beat her, and dumped her in a park. I think you are a sack of shit, Jacob.
You're not going to pin Celine's death on me. I'll take a lie detector test to prove it. You want to take all that back, you fresh-faced little punk?
McCall says he called and you didn't pick up.
I tried to get her help, and she laughed in my face. Well, then, of course, she needs me. I'd had enough. Everyone has their limit.
We're still going to need you to come downtown, Mr. Henry.
We can get this all down on paper, Jacob. How you got fed up with your wife and how you figured killing her would bury all your troubles. I don't think Jacob is our man, but we should see what he has to say. Jacob Henry's apartment again. The boy has skeletons in his closet. Search the place. We need something on this guy, something that'll stick. Ask him some questions. Keep it simple. I'll do the rest. Hurry it up and call in, Phelps. I'm not sitting on this asshole forever.
You find the booze helps you get through a working day?
Sharpens my investigatory instincts, Phelps.
A smart lawyer might use that to throw out anything you collect today.
A smart man might know it's unwise to stand between the patient and his medicine.
As long as you're not falling over, Rusty, I'll let it slide.
That's mighty kind of you, Phelps. You know, you picked the wrong job if a healthy thirst offends you, Cole.
We owe it to this city to do the best we can in this position. As homicide detectives, that responsibility is all the more serious.
Always the politician.
It's not political, it's practical. Maybe the men combing Hollywood Boulevard after the Elizabeth Short murder were more interested in sniffing out booze than the clues that would have led to her killer.
Yeah, well, if only you'd been there, choir boy. Betty Short would be alive, the Japs would have spared Pearl Harbor, our ancestors wouldn't have tasted the forbidden fruit.
Minor syntactical error, Detective Galloway. I never claimed to be able to prevent crimes. I only suggested a proficiency in solving them. Guess that's the drink slowing you down.
Oh my God, brother, oh brother. It's worse than I could ever have imagined.
Size 9s. Above average for a lady.
Gentlemen, what can I get you?
Yes, Detective. In regards to the Celine Henry homicide, the owner of the Turkey Bowl restaurant at 1535 West 3rd Street says the victim was at his restaurant last night.
Turkey Bowl Restaurant. We'll check it out. Phelps and Galloway, LAPD. Were you working here last night?
Yes. How can I help, officer?
You can start with your name.
Garrett Mason.
You're the regular bartender on nights?
I'm a temporary barman. I work for an agency. I fill in at bars across town.
Do you remember a woman who came in here last night? 5'7", about 110 pounds, blonde hair, about 40 years of age.
You mean Celine Henry?
Yes. Do you know anything about her?
I don't, but the owner, Mr. McCall, serves her most nights. Would you like to speak to him?
I would.
He sits at the back of the club. Wears a hibiscus. You can't miss him. Is there anything else?
Inquire away, Phelps. I'll stay here. I'm a little parched. Pour me 3 fingers of rye.
You going to pay for that? On the house, officer.
That's the spirit. Pour me another.
I don't mean to be rude, but I've got work to do. Unless you'd like a drink too, officer, there's not a lot I can do for you.
I can check your coat or book you a table. Maybe you want to talk to the owner, mister. He's in the back somewhere. I started my shift 20 minutes ago. You're better off talking to the bartender.
Detective Phelps, LAPD. We're investigating the murder of Celine Henry. Do you know her?
Celine? Oh, Christ. Sure I know her. She and I and Jacob, her husband, we go way back.
She was here last night?
Sure, she's a regular. Celine was a lovely woman.
Was Mrs. Henry here with anyone last night?
Not at first. Celine already had quite a head start.
But she attracted attention?
Certainly. A few gentlemen became very enamored with her and her stories. One guy in particular.
You know him?
No. He's been in a couple of times.
Did they leave together?
Yes, at around 11. If it helps, I made the guy's license plate.
How about a name? This is a murder beef, McCall. You don't want any adverse publicity for this place, do you?
If I had names, I would give them to you. I like Celine. I'd like to see you get whoever did this. We're clear on that?
You say you liked Celine, McCall? How much did you like her? You two cozy up when she was drunk?
You're trying to lay this on me? I hope you got more than just hot air to back that up, wise guy. Celine was a funny lady. There was a lot to like about her, but she drank way too much. I kept an eye on her because I liked her, because I felt sorry for her husband. You got a problem with that?
I think this could be a great help, sir. Thank you. You know the husband?
Sure I know Jacob. He was in the Corps. He met Celine on a furlough and married her when the war was finished. He put up with a load of shit.
Do you think he killed his wife?
No. No, not in my opinion.
Mrs. Henry appeared to be missing a ring, torn from her finger, but not her wedding finger.
Celine always wore a red garnet ring on the large side. Larger than life, like Celine herself.
Did she have it a long time?
Sure. Since way back in her flying days.
Did her husband buy it for her?
No, it was before Jacob.
Was it valuable? Could it be motive for her murder?
Who could say these days? I think it had more sentimental than monetary value.
I think you know where the ring came from, and I think you're going to tell me.
Okay, I bought it years ago. I carried a torch for Celine in those days. I guess I always have. Her old man never knew about it.
I think you killed her, McCall. She finally dumped Henry, but still she wasn't interested in you. She was in here flirting, and that was it for you. You took the ring because it has some link to you.
You're full of cheap shots, aren't you, detective? Speak to the temp bar, man. I was here for a couple of hours after I closed up, and my wife will testify that I was in all night. I think I've had enough of you and your theories.
Was he ever violent with her?
Celine came in here last night looking like she'd taken a slap. They don't live together anymore, so it might not have been him.
So if it wasn't Jacob, then you probably let her out of here with the guy who killed her. How do you feel about that?
Stow the attitude, will ya? I tried to get on to Jacob. I rang him up, asked him to come pick her up like usual. But he refused. She picked some night to push him over the edge. I rang him back around 11:30, but I got no answer.
You're lying, McCall. You're covering for Henry. You called him and told him what time she was leaving.
You're an asshole, you know that? Where do you get off, pal? I feel bad enough about what happened to Celine without you slinging mud. I better get back to sorting out the pay packets. I've been helpful, but now it's time to let me get on with running my business. Come on, detective. I was talking. So? We done? If you're waiting for a free drink, it ain't coming. I want the guy who hurt Celine found, and you don't have the first idea of what you're doing.
Thanks, Mr. McCall. You've been a big help. One more thing. Would you have an address for Celine?
142 North Union Avenue. God knows I had to send her home in enough cabs to remember that.
McCall, you said you liked her, and yet you've been no help at all. I want Celine's address.
142 North Union. Now get the hell out of my bar.
You should check in with R&I. Put an APB out on that plate.
Let's get out of here.
Hey, what's the hurry? My stool was just starting to warm up nicely.
I need a registered owner on a license plate, 2boy8899.
Yes, Detective. I'll need to contact the DMV. Shall I relay the details via KGPL?
Please.
Why not follow up on the Bomba? I could use a belt. You should get back to the Bomba. Check for witnesses and evidence and junk. Bartender, Phelps. Go. Then I can get a drink. What? Jesus. Can you go talk to the owner already? Leave me in peace for a second?
How'd you like losing your cherry, rookie?
It might be my first day here, but I've had extensive experience on other desks in the department. I think you're aware of that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you've been a pain in the ass before today as well.
And I shall continue to be until the end of time. LAPD, Phelps and Galloway. We're working a murder case. Mrs. Celine Henry, you called in?
Yeah, the name's Jonesco. This is my place.
You saw Mrs. Henry in here last night?
Until about 1 a.m., having dinner with a friend.
Doing more drinking than eating.
You got that straight.
Mrs. Henry was seen leaving another establishment in the company of a man. Did the two of them come here?
Yeah, I remember seeing her with a guy.
Had you ever seen that man before, Mr. Nesco?
Couple times, maybe. You know how it is. A lot of different faces go through an all-night place like this.
You have a name? Description, maybe? Come on, Mr. Nesco. We need something more to go on.
Smallish guy. Maybe 5'7", dark complexion, Latin looking.
Don't lie to me. You want to be up for obstructing justice?
Smart mouth son of a bitch coming in here threatening me. What you got you want to talk to me like that? I called the cops because I was doing my duty and I felt sorry for that poor woman. Not to be abused by you.
What time did the two of them leave?
Around 2 a.m. They were talking pretty loud. She had a black eye. Said her husband gave it to her. Said she was going to have him committed.
Did you see them leave?
They got into his old Pontiac. Dull brown color. I got to look at the license plate. 2B8899.
Was she a regular in here?
No. I mean, I wouldn't have recognized her face among the usual crowd.
Would you be able to identify the man she was with?
Maybe. I wasn't watching him too close.
Was the place busy last night?
Sure was.
So how come you paid so much attention to her?
She had something. For an older broad, I mean. Not good looking, but vivacious, full of life. I've always found that kind good in the sack. I was thinking about trying my luck, but that guy she was with had her wrapped up tight.
You're lying. He's a regular. At 1 a.m., you bring people to places you know.
I've seen him around, but I don't know his name. You should try a more humble tone, detective. You might find people more helpful.
We'll be in touch, Mr. Nesco. Thanks for your time.
Hey, I got a diner to run here. Haven't I given you enough already? I called because I got something might help. Now you don't want to listen? You can't stand around here all day. You'll be banned for business. You must have something to go on.
Where the hell's he going with that?
Look, Pops, just hand over the money, okay?
All right, young fellow, okay. Hold your horses. I'm getting the money.
I ain't afraid to drill you, you know.
Hey, careful with that trigger finger now. You look the nervous type.
Plug the old bastard, Lefty. If I gotta come in there, I'm spraying lead, you old coot.
LAPD, drop the weapon!
Holy shit, Phelps. I told you to watch it.
Car 11K, car 11 King, come in.
11K, go ahead.
License plate 2boy8899, belonging to a brown 1936 Pontiac. Registered to an Alonzo Mendez, apartment 16 at 402 South Fremont Street.
Any word on an owner for that vehicle? License was 2boy8899.
Yes, Detective. The plate belongs to a brown 1936 Pontiac. Registered owner is one Alonzo Mendez of 402 South Fremont Street, apartment 16.
Thanks.
I had plenty of guns shoved under my nose in my time, and still I appreciate the help. Don't you worry, officer. Take more than punks like that to rattle me. You can get going.
Mendez could be our man.
He could be at that, but you don't want to cross the skipper, Phelps. Not a great move in your first day. He wants Henry re-interviewed. I wonder if we should check that turkey bowl lead before it goes cold. The timeline put Celine Henry inside the turkey bowl not long before she bought it, Phelps. Is this the guy who called it in, you think? Let's hear his story.
Alonzo Mendez. Sound like a man who moonlights as the werewolf?
Don't sound like a man I'd let my daughter anywhere near.
You've got a daughter.
Spend enough time drinking, Cole, you'll find yourself with any number of things you don't want when you're sober.
So that's why you never sober up.
Exactly.
We have a firm lead, Captain.
Are you questioning my judgment, Cole Phelps?
No, sir.
Good. I thought not. Jacob Henry is a sob-sister pushed around by his wife. I think with the right kind of persuasion, he might be prepared to seek absolution. Are you prepared to show him the error of his ways, young Phelps?
I don't think he's our man. Galloway agrees with me.
Don't drag me into this.
Rusty is a practical policeman. A bird in hand is always worth two in the bush. Let's liberate a confession from poor Jacob and the public will sleep easier tonight. Run along now, Phelps. I've warmed them up nicely for you. When I set a man a task, I expect him to fulfill it. Pronto. Henry's confession, Phelps. Get it. Ease his troubled mind.
Doesn't look good, Jacob. You're in a big jam here. You lie to me, and I can't help you out. Do you understand me?
Yes.
Your marriage was over. You took her in, and she threw it back in your face. You didn't go over there to hurt her. It just got out of hand.
It's not how it was.
It wasn't the first time you hit her, was it, Jacob?
This might sound dumb, but sometimes I had to defend myself. She was strong and dangerous when she was drunk.
Jacob, I think she pushed you around and slapped you about. You got to like it. Big guy like you, and you're a fucking pushover.
Ah, fuck you. I did my best to make it work.
You're lying, Jacob. It was falling apart, and things got violent.
I'm not lying. I'm telling you how it was. My marriage wasn't violent. Cold, sick, and painful sometimes, maybe, but not violent.
Jenny Horgan says you blackened her eye. The owner of the Turkey Bowl restaurant said that she was telling the whole diner how you knocked her around.
It's all right, Jacob. The DA will understand. In your shoes, I would have done exactly the same thing.
I hit her, all right? I'm not proud of it, but she was coming at me with a frying pan. What would you do? I took it for years, but sometimes a man can only take so much.
What do you do for work, Jacob?
I'm a mechanic. Engines, differentials, transmissions, that kind of stuff.
So you have access to tools?
Yes, I do.
Your wife was brutally beaten with a socket wrench handle, then stomped to death. How do you think that looks, Jacob?
I was home in bed.
You'll have to do better than that, Jacob.
Check with Dick McCall at the Bomba. He'll tell you I was at home.
You were at home in bed while your wife was putting out to some stranger? What kind of man are you, Jacob, that you allow that?
You son of a bitch. You got no right talking about my wife like that.
You're full of shit, Jacob. The truth is you hated that bitch. You followed her and dragged her into the car and then took her out to the moors. She woke up and you smashed her face in with a socket wrench.
Look, I don't have anything more to say. I want to see my lawyer. I'm not going to crack. Please believe me, I didn't kill my wife. You can shove your theories. I am done.
Phelps, you failed me, son.
We have another lead, Captain. This guy Mendez could be our man.
I hope so, Phelps. I really hope so. I'm deeply disturbed by your style of police work.
If you didn't kill her, then who did, Jacob?
I don't know. I don't like to think about it. I know she met other men. I know it. Maybe it was one of them.
You used your wife's lipstick to leave us a message. Was it a cry for help, Jacob?
For the last time, I didn't kill my wife. I am done with you. You should charge me or let me go. If not, I'm going to get myself a lawyer.
I'll see what I can do for you, Jacob. But I'm not promising. It still looks bad for you. I don't see any way out of this unless you give us something. Why did you break into your wife's house, Jacob? Why steal the ring?
What? What are you talking about? I've got a key. Why would I need to break in?
You took the ring because you found out who gave it to her.
What are you talking about?
Her prized garnet ring, given to her by her old boyfriend, Dick McCall.
I never knew that. I lived with that woman for 3 years, and I never knew that. Well, in that case, I think you should be talking to Dick McCall.
We'll do the detective work, lunkhead. Just answer the questions.
So a burglar broke in the same night that Celine was murdered. You expect me to buy that?
I didn't break in. How many different ways do you want me to say it?
Where did you hawk the jewelry, Jacob? Do you know how cheap you're going to look to the grand jury? Husband murders wife and sells her jewels.
I may not have a fancy job. I may not have a lot of money, but I still have my pride, you dirty son of a bitch. No. No, 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 no.
And then you stomped her. You stomped her because she's a drunken whore and she treated you like shit. You stomped her for all the years you had to take it. You stomped her because you are such a weak fucking sister, Jacob, and you wanted to erase all memory of it. Go on. Try to deny it.
I was at home. I should have gone to her at the bar, but I didn't. You can't prove I wasn't home.
I can. The bar owner, McCall, gave you up. He called your house right at the time that someone was smashing Celine's skull in and got no answer. If we find that socket wrench, you're going to fry. Get it off your chest. Tell me you killed her.
I killed her, all right. I killed her dreams. She was an aviator, famous in her day, flying around up there like a bird, but she never wanted to come back down. You know, my pop was a sod farmer, dirt poor. I joined the Corps, trained to be a mechanic. I did better than my father did. I worked hard for it. That's all you can ask of a man. But Celine, she never wanted to come down from the clouds. She wanted everything I couldn't give her. All I had was security. That was never going to be enough. I hope if you ever suffer a loss, people treat you with more dignity than you've been offering me.
You did it. Everything points to you. What does Tex mean, Jacob?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I need a reason to believe you, Jacob.
You want a confession? That's what you want?
That's exactly what we want.
Seems to me there are two types of marriages. The first, where the couple love each other equally and everything's roses. And then there's the other, where one person loves the other more than life itself and always puts them first. Chumps like me, who love them no matter what, no matter how badly they behave. That's it. That's my confession. I loved my wife. And I'll take any test you got to prove it.
Phelps. Outstanding young man. In the good old days, we would be calling for the hangman.
We have another lead, Captain. This guy Mendez could be our man.
You've laid a charge?
Yes, sir.
So be it.
Back to Central. Jacob's trussed up and waiting. I want another shot at him. There's only so far we can get leaving Jacobs to stew, Phelps. Let's get back in there and take another run at him. As soon as we set foot in that interview room, I bet Henry will crack. Let's get there.
Mendez, apartment 16. Here, the apartment's up on the top floor.
Don't bother knocking, just kick the door in. Take a look around and see what you can find.
Consistent with Celine's injuries, and the blood can be typed.
We have the murder weapon. We better get Pinker down here.
Why keep it? Why not throw it away?
You think these clowns are geniuses? Thank your stars you caught a break, and Captain Donald will begin to like you.
Hey, what gives? LAPD, you're under arrest.
Mendez, stop right there! Carruthers could match the color and brand of the body.
You don't need to do this, Alonzo!
You're under arrest for the murder of Celine Henry. We ought to get these to Ray. Size 8s could help place Mendez at the scene.
I ain't saying a goddamn thing.
Do not lose that son of a bitch. I'll go get our wheels. Get in and drive. We can still pull down a conviction for the skipper if we chase down this Mendez guy. You don't want Jacob? Let's go take Mendez. Somebody's got to swing for this, Phelps. Search the place. We need nothing less than a smoking gun to make this stick.
You did a grand job, lads. Phelps, that's quite a way to acquit yourself in your first outing as a homicide investigator. It seems the city has a new and vengeful guardian. Considering the evidence against your suspect, and the thoroughness with which a report was compiled, I foresee a safe passage through the courts, and the DA agrees with me. Brutality on a scale such as this deserves retribution. The people and the press of this city demand it.